boots on ground, serve with pride, never back down from the fight. Deserts and the city streets, we keep pushing through the night. Battle tested, battle ready, earn respect through blood and sweat. Unapologetic veterans and we ain't finished yet. Veterans speaking truth, real stories, breaking down the walls, tearing through the lies. This is our time to rise. From the Corps to the Army, Navy, Air Force, to Coast Guard, standing ready, red, white, and blue. No filter on the mic, just the truth we bring. Welcome to the show where the real vets sing. Unapologetic veterans, turn it up loud. We served, we fought, we stand proud.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Veterans Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. It's been a while, everybody. I don't know about you, but I've been missing this a little bit. Got some changes over here on the podcast. As you can see, I'm here by myself. Stalls, my co-host, has decided to step down. So it'll just be me, myself, and I for a while. I've got some guests planned. One in particular, I think y'all are really going to enjoy. Not only is his life story motivating, but what he's doing now is actually pretty cool. I didn't realize that it was as big as it was until I started researching him for this particular episode that I'm planning. And it's wild, you know, sometimes you just don't fit in one spot, so you go and create your own, and then next thing you know, this is what people know you by. It's pretty wild. Today, or tonight, I guess, it's 9:30 my time, but I kind of want to talk about something that is not only important in the military and, you know, in everyday life, but in the real world, right? It's not something that just applies to each individual's lifestyle or job or, you know, command, right? This is something that applies to anybody and everybody, and that is accountability. Um, you know, a lot of people like to use that as a buzzword or just, and it's really not even that big of a word, but a big word, right? They want to sound fancy and intelligent without really looking into what that actually means. And so, for a lot of people, they really don't understand what accountability is or what it means. You know, so for me, it's about trust and responsibility. You know, it's also about owning your own actions, the good, the bad, the dirty, the messy, and everything in between, right? It's when you make a decision, whether it's good or bad, you stand with it. And that could be something that you personally do or physically do, or that could be something that you tell somebody underneath you. You know, as most of you know, I was in the Marines. So if I told one of my junior Marines, hey, I need you to go do this, and that turned out to be a really, really, really bad idea, well, guess what? I still have to stand by that. It's not just, oh, well, he did it, so it's his mistake. Like, no. Like, that also falls back on me. So there's a lot that goes into that, right? It's not just superficial and, oh, well, we can just blow it off. Like, there's actually a lot that goes into it. And so for the first segment, we're going to do a mini series here, but for the first segment or the first half, the first episode, whatever way you want to slice it, we're going to do what accountability really means, right? So accountability means being answerable for your actions, decisions, and outcomes. And in plain English, if you do it, you own it. And like I said, that also extends if you tell somebody to do something or have somebody do something. It applies everywhere to individuals, organizations, institutions, even government. Without accountability, there's no transparency. Without transparency, there's no trust. That sounds pretty familiar, doesn't it? Right? Turn on the TV, open social media. You see it? You clicking any buttons? Turning on any light bulbs? The Center for Creative Leadership puts it in this way: accepting responsibility for your actions, decisions, and behaviors, and being willing to account for them to others. So what does that look like, right? What is an example? So say I have a bunch of coworkers or junior Marines, or I don't know, whatever situation you want to put yourself in. And I say, "Hey, let's go to the bar after work." Right? Let's let's go get some drinks. And we go. We have a few, maybe one too many to be driving. And actually, let me back up. Let me put it. Let's go this way first. So, say we're there. We're just throwing it back, drinking, having a good old time. And instead of the bartender saying, "Hey, you're cut off. I can't serve you anymore," they just continue to serve you. You get in your car or your truck or your motorcycle and you start driving down the road and you cause an accident. Did you know that that bartender is also liable? They have a duty to say, "No, you've had enough." Is that accountability? Is the establishment that is doing this, is this accountability? Or is this just there to protect them? It could be both, right? I mean, nobody wants to get sued for millions of dollars and be somewhat, in a way, responsible for somebody losing their own life. No, nobody wants that. But also, they have kind of a duty to say, "Hey, look, you've had too much. I can't serve you anymore. Let's look at here's some water or some soda. Let's try to sober you up. Hey, let me help you find a ride home, an Uber, or call somebody." There's some accountability there, right? We have to look out for each other in that situation, right? So there is some accountability. Like for me, if that was my Marine, I would have to take some responsibility and ensure that they get home safely, whether it's myself or somebody else or an Uber or a taxi getting them home. I don't want to be responsible if something happens. You know, we have a almost like a civic duty, right? But I think we've all forgot that. I think everybody makes a mistake or does something and just says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I apologize." Yeah, that sounds good and all, but what? Why does it matter, right? Like saying I'm sorry is it kind of goes both ways. Yeah, it is taking some form of accountability, but if they're not sincere about it, they're just it's words, right? Why is this so important? Because accountability builds integrity. It's about the acknowledging mistakes, learning from them, and taking corrective action. It's about holding others to the same standards we expect from ourselves. Leadership without accountability is just authority. Leadership with accountability, that's where trust and respect are born. You know, I would tend to follow somebody or listen to or respect somebody that is accountable, that takes accountability for their actions. I mean, it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen that you're going to make a mistake, that you're going to have a bad decision, a bad call. You know, you're going to mess up. It happens. Everybody messes up at some point, but it's how you deal with it and how you recover from it that people look at. You know, people don't judge you by the thing for the most part. People don't judge you by the things that you do well. They judge you by the mistakes you make. Think about this in everyday life. So here's an example of personal accountability. You hurt your partner's feelings. You don't just, I'm sorry. You own it, apologize sincerely, and make it right. Now, is that going out and buying flowers or a new car or, you know, buying some lavish gift? Maybe not. That's probably a bit extreme. But have a conversation. Look somebody in the eyes and say, "Hey, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry I hurt your feelings. You know, next time I'll take a step back and look at what I'm saying could potentially, you know, potentially and how it could affect you." How about financial accountability? Let's look at nonprofits, for example, right? A nonprofit shows donors exactly where their money went. That's transparency in action. You know, as a nonprofit, you have to be able to show everything, where every dollar went, down to the penny. Where did it go? That's the definition of accountability. You're accounting for everything. How about a little bit of social accountability? Communities demand fair policies and leaders who stand for justice and inclusion. Now, that sounds pretty familiar, right? It's all over the news, it's all over social media, it's everywhere. You know, it's something that you will never get away from. You may look at it differently, right? You may say, well, I don't really care until it affects you. But then you want somebody to take accountability for what affects you, right? You don't want somebody just to make a mistake and then continue on like it never happened. You want them to show some accountabilities and like in a way that'll, hey, I'm not going to let this happen again. We as people have to start taking accountability so that we can hold others accountable. Accountability looks like three things: taking responsibility, being transparent, working for positive outcomes. It's it's almost sad when you're part of a community that prides themselves on helping others and always, quote unquote, being there for one another. It's in the DNA of this community. And when somebody makes a mistake, what should we do? What should the response be? Should it be, burning them at the cross? Should it be demanding accountability? Should it, be a trial or a trial by a jury of your peers? What is the right answer? What is the right way to go about this? I see so many times that veterans get in a deep, dark place and they make a mistake or screw up and they're just like, nah, I'm sorry. There's no accountability there. And then you have the flip side of that. You have somebody who makes a mistake who, if it's on social media, posts a video saying, hey, look, it's me. I did this. I'm the problem. Like, they take accountabilities for their actions because they want people to see them in the light at which, yeah, I'm not perfect. No, nobody's perfect. But I made a mistake. I apologize. This is what I'm going to do to better myself. This is what I've learned from my mistake. And these are the things I'm going to do going forward. And I think that we as a society need to do that, right? We have to do a better job of owning our mistakes. We have to do a better job of, hey, I screwed up. Like, yeah, that's me. I did it. But here's what I'm going to do to change that. Or here's what I'm going to do to fix that moving forward so that doesn't happen again. We live in a difficult time right now. And I think it's a combination of two things. I think one, social media, AI, the internet is a blessing and a curse, right? You can have everything at your fingertips. Everything's there. So there's no hiding anything. It's always right there. So for a lot of people who struggle with that accountability aspect, sometimes they're not able to get out in front of it, as these politicians like to say, and they get fried, crucified for it. Is that justified? Is that the right answer? I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. But I do know that we have to work on ourselves and figure out as a group, as a community, what is the right way to go about this? What is the best way to take accountability for everything? I'm going to stop there for this particular episode. Trying to keep them little quick episodes for this little series. Hopefully, it'll even out at about an hour. Should have 2 or 3 of them. The next one, we'll dive into the core traits, some different types of accountability, and how to kind of set yourself up to stay on a path to keeping accountability. You know, as always, I appreciate everybody tuning in, listening, downloading the episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, watching it on YouTube, supporting us. You know, I appreciate Heroes Media Group for sponsoring our podcast. And then, of course, Gunny and Willis over at Homefront Separate for allowing us to be a part of them and put this out to everybody. I think I'm pretty close, 21 and a half minutes. I think we're doing good. But I appreciate everybody. And as always, y'all stay unapologetic.